I think something that was different from the way that we came out of the church is that because you were way more in a world that was like more vitriolic with that sort of stuff, it like pushed you out harder. For me, what really led me out was, I mean, it's a similar thing that like I sort of like kept digging, and like if you keep digging, you're gonna come out the other side,
Right.
And so I was like, oh well, that sounds kind of this sounds kind of crummy, like
Sure.
And so I was looking for more reasons to love.
Yeah.
Like I want to love more through this. And the spirit of what's calling me to this is the love. But no matter like what way around it I can find, there isn't enough.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to love more than religion allowed me to.
Exactly. Oh man, that's such a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so it was actually the opposite of anger. I mean, it was like anger because I was like, well, shouldn't we be doing this better?
Yes. Yes.
But it wasn't because I was like angry at the church or like hurt by the church. It was just that like, look, I think we can do a little bit more than just like, well, if you don't believe or if you're gay or if you're blah, 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 then you're going to burn in hell.
Yeah. Well, that's why I stuck around so long too, is like, I'm sure just as I ranted for 2 hours, it probably sounded like, oh, like I was so mad and I hated everybody and blah, blah, blah. Not at all. Like I gave years, many years, where I could have been free to just like go out and have fun, in church. And the reason was because, like I didn't just take issue and complain about things. Same story. Like I thought if our goal is to love people, which I thought it was, we can be doing it better. And here's how, like, here's my ideas for how we do that. Yeah.
And the harder part for you is that like, since your whole community was the church, that made your coming out of it a lot harder.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, like Catholic culture is, I actually just talked to my wife about this, that like Catholic culture's like halfway Jewish, and the way like Jewish culture is, I was listening to a podcast with Eric Weinstein and David Wolpe, who's a rabbi.
Wow.
And they talked about like Judaism isn't trying to like, oh, please, everyone come in here. Like Judaism's like, look, we're in this club.
Yeah.
And like, you got to be in the club. Catholicism's like halfway there, where it's like, all right, yeah, like we want people to join the club. We are an exclusive club.
Yeah.
But like we want people in. But if you wanted the club, like you got to try a little bit.
Yeah.
You got to do the research and get baptized and get confirmed and stuff like that. So like it's, but at the same time, like there's a lot of Jewish people and then by extension, a lot of Catholic people that are kind of like, yeah, I'm in the club, but like, you know, I just pay my dues and show up whenever the big stuff happens.
Yeah.
And so for me, my community didn't fall apart because of that.
Exactly.
And a lot of my like close friends are like really good Christians. Good Christians as in good at Christianity, but also good people who happen to be Christians.
Nice. There you go.
And so it was a hard conversation with a few of them. A couple I haven't even really talked to about it.
Yeah.
And so
it's unsettling.
Yeah. And it took a long time for me to get over that, like, atheist bias against Christians,
right,
or against religion in general.
Yeah.
Because there's still that little worm in the back of my mind that's like, you believe that I will burn in hell.
Yeah.
Because of this.
Yep.
And like, I still can't really like do anything about it.
Right.
Like, obviously it doesn't necessarily change people's behavior towards me.
Sure.
But like, when it does come down to it,
there's a filter.
Yeah. Like, I am going to burn in hell because of this.
Exactly.
And unless you're like a universalist,
right.
Then it's like, oh, well, there is no hell, and like everyone just goes to heaven. I was like, all right, then what's the point? But I think, I don't know, it took a long time for me to like, Christians, you know?
Yeah.
To get rid of that and just be like, no, people are doing good things.
Yes.
And as long as the good things are happening, we can be cool.
Sure.
But if the bad things are happening, we're going to have to do something.
We need to confront it. Well, and for me too, there is this part of me that wants to take the animosity that I have towards a good part of the religion and direct that at the people who are propagating it. And what I have to remind myself sometimes, and what like honestly, like I'm really making an active effort to do right now is for those friends of mine that are Christian, whether or not we're super close or anything, like I want to be very clear. Like, I don't hate you. I don't hate Christians. In fact, like I still have, I'm loath to say a lot. Probably out of the people that I specifically went to church with, a fraction. But of the people that I just like know and am friends with, yeah, like I'm friends with a lot of Christians. You know, I don't hate you, and I don't think that you're stupid, and I don't think that you are like a bad person or anything. If we disagree on stuff, that's one thing. If you're doing something that's harmful, like, yeah, I might want to talk to you about that, and I might want to get you to think. At the end of the day, like I was you know what I mean? I know what happens when you're indoctrinated. And in the same way that I'm really grateful that my more progressive friends who did not share that experience or who got out before I did were patient with me and who were still my friend even when I was acting like a jackass. Yeah, I feel like I should be doing that for other people. Yeah. At the end of the day, like I don't think that people, for the most part, get off on being hateful to one another.
There are some people.
There's some people that do. There's some people that do. A lot of people, though, I feel like for me, Christianity was security. It's what I was taught was right. It was what's not only correct about the nature of the world, but it's morally what's right with it. I thought that I was helping people. And I think a lot of Christians do. Yeah. So I have to remind myself, like, yo, be gentle in some of this stuff. Like, I'm a salty person by nature, so be salty when you have to be salty, be intense when you have to be intense. But to individual people and not systems or ideas, like, take a step back for a minute. Be careful what you say, because at the end of the day, like, is that person intentionally hurting people? Is that person like dominating other people? Like some maybe pastors might be, or are they just another person who was indoctrinated like you and who thinks they're doing the right thing?
And the hard thing about that too is that I recognize that in some people that I know who were raised in that kind of environment, and they're like still in it per se, but like it's really hard to have a conversation because it's like, you are having these predispositions because of the culture that you were raised in, and we can't have a conversation about that because you're still within that. And to bring it up would cause a rift.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
And so I don't know. It's like, there's like conversations that just can't be had.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I don't know if they ever will.
Do you think it's necessary to have those conversations?
Well, definitely. But it's also, the thing is that having an awareness of your relationship is as important to consider before you go into that conversation.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know, if you're not at the point of understanding with each other to where one of my closest friends is like a very devout Christian. He's very active in like the youth at his church as well.
Yeah.
And we understand each other at this point. Whenever I went through my thing, I like went to him.
Sure.
And it was important.
Yeah.
His wife, who I'm also really good friends with, I don't feel close enough with to do that.
Yeah.
And there's like, I don't know, like, I don't know if I can have that conversation.
Right. Will this end the relationship if we go here?
Yeah, well, I don't think
or change
so. It may not end it because like we're a network of friends anyways.
Sure.
But it's like, it would just be like, all right, no, it's just this awkward thing.
Things would be kind of weird after that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But that's the thing. It's like, more so in a weird way, I'm like pitying the effects of the indoctrination in different people. And I can't do anything about it.
Dude, you man, 100%.
Yeah.
It's something that I after I got to the point where I was willing to admit that I already was an atheist and didn't realize it, that was what kept me even thinking about stuff like this. Because if I'm out, hooray, I get to do what I want. I'm free from a lot of that. But immediately I started seeing exactly what you were talking about. I still have friends who are in it. And as I'm deconstructing a lot of the anxiety and depression inducing things in my life, where I have, I think, been taught to separate myself from myself, to kind of dehumanize myself a little bit, disembody parts of my emotions and, not just like thoughts and ideas, but just like, am I allowed to feel this? Am I allowed to have this thought? Is it a sin?
Yeah.
Shit. Like as I deconstruct that and come out happier on the other end, I look at a lot of friends that I still have who are in it, and they say things and they react to things in a certain way. And I'm like, oh my God, like I see the internal conflict. I see where you want to be happy about something, but you have to cap your happiness for one reason or another, or you want to be proud of something, or you want to own something. And at the end of the day, you got to give glory to God. Like can't be full of yourself. Sometimes that's just what self-love looks like. you felt cute and you took a selfie. It's rough to watch your friends and family members still going through that.
And then conversations that I want other people to have with each other that won't allow themselves. Cause like the toxic masculinity thing and all that stuff. And it's like, there's something happening here that I wish I could say something about.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah. We don't have the shared foundation to. Yeah.
And I want to help. And that's the weird thing too, is that like on the other side of the coin, Christianity encourages people to do that awkward leap.
Right.
And so it's like, oh, I saw that you were like blah, blah, blah the other day. Let me just impose myself upon your life and talk to you about it.
I felt led by the Spirit.
Yeah. And cool. Like the weird thing is that has led to like good things happening.
Yeah.
Outside of the other like 80% of the time that it's just really awkward.
Oh, that's so accurate. Oh man.
But like it still leads to some good things.
Yeah.
And that's a tool like I don't have in my toolbox.
Yeah.
I can't just be like, I felt led by the spaghetti monster to come have this awkward conversation with you.
Oh man, I just felt really compelled by, I don't know, nothing to by Great Cthulhu. That's my go-to.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I felt emotionally led because I know you well enough, but not too well. So I need to make this awkward leap. That's one thing that has happened over time, is that as stuff has gotten more complex in my explanations of like spirituality and relationships and stuff like that, I have to speak in like 2 layers of meta before actually saying what I need to say.
I understand that.
And it's like, yeah, I not like a spirit or my soul, but like, you know, emotionally because of like the chemicals of the here's a thing that I normally ask, but like you were on a roll inside. I don't, do free will? Question mark.
Yes. It's a lot easier to answer now that I'm not a Christian.
Sure.
Yeah, it's I think we are complex enough creatures that yes, with all of the different synapses firing in our brains, yeah, definitely. There are, I would say, and I am not a scientist, but there are degrees, I think, to which our some of our maybe just vestigial instincts will come through. Don't quote me on this, but I just kind of a vague philosophy that I came up with like a week ago is I think ultimately in like our most base form, I think we desire 2 overall things, and that is survival, first of all, and then second, happiness. So it's kind of like, I mean, a baby is a great example. A baby reacts well to positive stimuli and not well to negative. That baby is going to do whatever its tiny forming brain can do to get that positive stimuli.
Yeah.
And additionally, we eat, we procreate, we do whatever it takes for us to keep on living. I think, at our most base, that's what we're going after. And everything else, I feel like in some form or another can factor into that. And again, I'm no scientist or anything. I'm not smart. Don't listen to me. But as far as if you want to talk about morality and stuff like that, what's good, what is ethical?
That's another question I asked.
Yeah, I was about to say, we're going to get here eventually. If you want to talk about that, for me, as a human who enjoys feeling human things, I'm not going to look at you, my friend, and just be like, I really enjoy the fact that the chemicals in my brain produce a positive effect when we hang out and have cool conversation. I don't think of it like that. Is that what's happening on a base scientific level? Probably. But I'm going to look at you and say, you're my friend. I enjoy hanging out. I enjoy doing fun things. Let's do it.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about just kind of jumping back to morality, what's ethical and stuff, I think at the end of the day, what that boils down to is, yes, the reason that we want to do good things and the reason that we want to be nice to each other, most of us, a lot of us, some of us, is if you want to talk about our base level as mammals, we're a species. We don't function on our own. If it's just me out in the woods, I'm fucked. But as a species, we come together, we build things, we have water, we have electricity, we have medicine. So whatever is going to further our species and the existence of our species and the things that we need to survive, like plants and animals and oxygen and an atmosphere. yeah, we should be doing those things. We should be doing whatever is going to continue the survival of us and the stuff around us because we're connected to it. Am I gonna come out and think of it like that on that level? No, like I enjoy doing nice things for other people. I enjoy being able to get together with the group of friends, have a drink and have fun and just like, jack around. Those things bring me pleasure. If somebody has a need, it feels good to meet it. It feels good to take care of others.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, if you want to talk about the animal side of it, furthering the existence of our species and I think the other species around us and stuff, yes, that is where, if you want to go there, I think that's what it would be. And that being said, we're humans. Everything is nuanced. If you can go back to that base thing and then build outward because we are complex creatures, I think that's a pretty good manual for what's right and wrong.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if I'm doing something that harms you, I probably shouldn't do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Since this is the conversation podcast and not the just me asking questions podcast, can I chisel a little bit at your different world? I'm a no on free will.
Okay.
And
that's where we started, free will.
Yeah.
Shit.
The longer that you look for free will, the farther away it gets.
Sure.
And it's like you'll find that it's a smoky cloud and dissipates as you're getting to it. And I mean, I listen to a lot of Sam Harris, but as much as I like tried to like, no, wait, but still I like kept falling and it's like, oh, well, nope, no more free will. Dang it. I like the fourth dimensional time travel explanation. I like using this a lot versus the fifth dimensional time travel.
Educate me.
So sorry for the listeners that have heard me give this explanation before. Fifth dimensional time travel is like Back to the Future.
Okay.
Whenever they're going backwards or forwards in time, they're not necessarily actually going backwards and forwards in time. They're actually just going to an alternate dimension at that point in time.
Right.
Because the stuff that they change,
it's going to diverge.
Yeah. It creates a different thing. You can think of that as free will.
Okay.
Is that like every single thing that you do creates a divergent path. Fourth dimensional time travel is where we're on one timeline and that is the timeline.
Right.
So in Prisoner of Azkaban, was it Prisoner of Azkaban? Yeah. Hermione had the time turner and they went back to like fix things.
Right.
But those were the things that they actually did in the first place.
Exactly.
The longer that they were doing the things back in time, the more that they realized that these are the things that they did.
Right.
And so it's like the stuff that you're doing is actually that which you were already going to do.
Okay. Yeah. No. I get that.
And I don't know, there's like a chaos theory thing that you can apply to free will if you want, but I think that we are chemicals and that's the thing that leads us, which is not to say that we don't make decisions, because we do.
Right.
It's just that is the decision that you are going to make already.
Yeah. No, I understand that. Yeah.
It's like, you could get up and murder me, but you won't.
Yeah.
And you already were not
never
going
say never.
Right. Yeah, but you don't know what's in this drawer behind me.
That's true. That's true. Good point.
You were already not going to.
Right.
Anyway.
Do you think our definition of free will maybe is a little bit too simple then?
Yeah, well, because it kind of goes to like a magical realm.
Sure.
It's like what we decide isn't determined by all of the things that actually determine what we are. And it's like, all right, so what does determine that?
Right.
I do. Okay, like who are you?
Yeah.
And how do you exist outside of this universe that, has shaped you, and both your genes and your environment have created you to be exactly who you are.
Right.
And so you can't step outside of that.
Yeah.
And so it's not that it's not that we don't make decisions, but we are this network of people and decisions. And so I am doing something that affects you. You're doing something that affects me.
Yeah.
And that's how all of our paths go together.
Sure.
And so I don't like that, a lot of times people take determinism and go, oh, well, I give up then. There's no reason in trying to convince a Trump supporter otherwise. And it's like, no, but like if you are an influence in their life, you are changing the environment. You are part of their path.
Yes. Yeah.
So do it.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense to me. And for me, free will always, even right now in my mind, it's relating to Christianity. Because that's where the question got asked my whole life.
Sure.
So I think everything, I think it's kind of a paradox just in regards to this, because just kind of like you said, at the end of the day, I'm chemicals, I'm matter. The thing is going off in my brain. That is at the base level what is making me decide to do whatever it is I'm doing right now.
Yeah. Not that it's not complex.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Complex.
Yeah. And it's hard to wrap your mind around, but I could get up and murder you right now, but there's a few reasons why I wouldn't. Reasons. There's a lot of reasons why I wouldn't do that.
I'm glad there's at least 3.
Yeah, right. Name a but no, like just to I don't know if it's playing devil's advocate or whatever, but like, what's to say that, just to prove that there's free will, oh, well, shit, I'll get up and murder you right now. And then even if you want to go there, it's like, okay, so there's something in me. There's some neurons firing off in my brain that wanted the satisfaction of being right, thus providing security to myself, thus giving me positive stimuli and making me feel like I have a better grip on reality, which is going to help me survive.
And that's exactly the decision that you are going to make.
And that's why I murdered Santiago on his podcast.
Yeah.
No. So I think
wouldn't be the first time.
The first time you were murdered?
The first time that murdering me has been mentioned on the podcast.
Yikes. Yeah. Okay. I thought it was being original.
Well, actually, I brought up murdering me first.
Oh, so wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's fine.
I already influenced your decisions. So
there it is. Okay. There it is. But yeah, no, I think for me, where my mind wants to go, again, like with Christianity and stuff, free will to me as a Christian always meant salvation. So that's where it mattered, right? So if you want to talk about like Calvinism, are we predetermined? Are some people born just to go to hell?
That's some hard stuff, man.
Shit, dude. Like it's some fucked up stuff. So is there like has everything that I'm going to do already been predetermined? Did God make me knowing exactly what I was doing and carve out this plan for me just to go to hell?
Right.
If I choose to become saved, is that my choice, or did God say he's going to choose to become saved? At which point, what's the point? Why would someone do that? Why did that make sense? So if you want to constrict it to that, like this one event that may or may not happen in someone's life, I feel like that's one conversation you could have about free will. Yeah. But if you want to go deeper than that and you want to say, why do we make decisions about anything? Why do I do this? Why does this person, jump off into left field and do this crazy thing that nobody expected? You could define that as free will and say this person diverted expectations, maybe. And if diverting expectations is free will, sure, I guess we do. But like you said, even at the base level, if it's hard to see and hard to understand, there's still a reason that happened. There's still something that factored into that decision, right? Just cause and effect. So I guess the question for me would be, with all of that being said, does it matter? Is there a point to having a discussion on free will?
Sure. And that's something that's come up before. Yeah. And it's usually no, it doesn't matter. Right. But like, you know, I'm a philosophy hobbyist. So like I
feel that.
Yeah. And so why talk about anything? Because it's fun.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, like the question doesn't matter. It's like, no, it doesn't. But it's a neat conversation.
It's like, whose line is it anyway? The points are made up and nothing matters. Yeah, no, but I think like on a positive note, though, if you can have those conversations about stuff like that and take a step back and look at that. Yes, if we can dive deeper into like, hey, this concept that we've been talking about for millennia, like let's take a look at that. Let's dive deeper into that. Let's take a look at why we're taking a look, you know, just kind of going deeper. And the further back you can look and see why you do the things that you do and why others do the things that they do. I mean, holy shit, there's a reason that we study serial killers. Yeah. There's a reason that somebody wants to probe into the brain of somebody, you know, who has made those life decisions. Right. Why does this happen? We want to know. What's the goal? To fix it and to make things better. Yeah,
and that's the thing. It's like
prevent, you know, these things from converging.
A lot of times we don't get to that part.
I think it's the goal, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Like sometimes it looks like people are just like, why did this person murder some people? Let's look into it. It's like, cool. It's because of this. It's like, are you going to do anything with that information?
Yeah, okay.
It's like, yeah, no, that's just like why Ted Bundy did that. It's like,
make a podcast.
Are you gonna like, you know, try and stop other Ted Bundys from happening? It's like, well, if another one happens, we'll study that one too. Jesus. But that's the thing. It's another reason why I like having the free will conversation is because it actually ties into everything else. Yeah. And kind of a reason why I do the podcast. Like,
nice.
I had a different guest on the podcast who we talked about, like, why do you, like, who are you and why do you do the things that you do? That's like the thesis of this.
Yeah.
While at the same time accelerating the friendship process.
Totally.
That's a gimmick that I've tapped into because instead of like, oh, let's just have a series of experiences over time. Yeah. Let's just have really deep conversations in like 2-hour span. And then we're good friends.
Damn, there it is. We've never hung out before.
Yeah, exactly.
It works. The system works.
Yeah. Sorry to like reveal the code of the thing, but like, yeah, no, that's another.
You've seen the face of God.
Yeah. But if we like expand it out to society, I saw Joker the other day with my wife. Finally.
Oh, you saw Joker the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I just figured that was necessary because I said the word society. But if we do have that goal of like, why does this serial killer exist? Yeah. We can actually apply that to everything else and go, all right, why does crime exist? And we can go, all right, what are the things that lead criminals to be criminals? What are the things that lead, you know, billionaires to destroy the ecosystem?
Yeah. How do we prevent that shit from happening?
Yeah. And if we first acknowledge that we don't have free will, that we are products of our genes and our environment, then we can do our damnedest to change the environment to make sure that this doesn't happen.
Exactly.
Anymore. And so it's like, I don't necessarily blame like oil companies for spilling oil into the environment. Like, I do, but at the same time, it's like
something led to this.
Right. Well, like we let this happen.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And we also let them get away with it.
Yep.
We created a system that allowed them to do this and then get away with it.
Uh-huh.
Why are we doing this? Like, why should we let this happen?
Why are there people starving across the world? Like we know that we have or can come up with the resources to fix that. So what are we not willing to give up to make that happen? Like at what point do we get so uncomfortable that we stop asking the question and don't go any further and just accept it?
Yeah. And a lot of times it boils down to like, well, it's always been this way. And I hate that so much. That's actually one of the things that led me away from religion. It's just like, you just keep asking the question. And the people who stay in are just like, well, because.
Yeah. This doesn't require me to think.
Yeah.
So it's easier to just do this.
It's hard to start trying to question the basic fundamentals of our reality. But like, you know, it started with like, why does God want to burden the gay people? Exactly. And it's like, why does God want you to love him?
Yep.
Why does God want?
Exactly.
And asking that fundamental question is like, whoa.
Yeah.
We're getting onto like some wibbly stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, with the system thing, it's like, all right, a lot of bankers did some stuff in 2008 that led to the crash, and a lot of people ended up being homeless or bankrupt, whatever it might have been, and then they got away with it.
Yeah.
They wanted to do this, and they did and are happy and still have millions of dollars.
Right.
Rather than go, those are bad people.
Yeah.
They are. We acknowledge that. But let's go a step further and go, how did we create a system that allowed this to happen?
Exactly.
And then how do we change it? I don't know. That's why it's like, so I have two spheres. Now we're getting into politics.
Sure.
There's my ideal brain.
Right.
Like, in my beautiful utopia, this is how things
in the
would
vacuum.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm what's the entire phrase is a fully automated luxury gay space
communism. Yeah.
That's the ideal. However, it's a little hard to get there, and it's hard to get from here to there and just like take a step. We need some steps in between.
Right. Exactly.
Pragmatically, I'm more of like a left-leaning libertarian, probably.
Sure.
Hence Yang Gang.
Right.
What do you know about Andrew Yang? I want to have this.
Oh, here we go.
Too, but,
UBI, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't done a ton of research into him. I feel like I've heard his basic platform. I mean, it's better than the shit we have right now.
Yeah.
Ultimately, my thing is more so just to go back to fully automated luxury gay space communism. Exactly. I think just in the way that you were saying that, like, you know, not that you said this, but paraphrasing, like sure. Life should be, and it can have its best form when we keep asking the questions. That's how we improve. For me, well, I just think about like, go off in left field. If I was a serf in somebody's fiefdom, like for me, being my ideal serf brain and saying like, oh, I really would like a life where I'm not a serf or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus my pragmatic serf brain, which was like, you know, maybe I should find ways to be more efficient and change the feudal system from within, and I'm putting words in the mouth of a serf right now. Why don't I change it from within? Why don't I settle for this and then try to do the best that I can in this bubble? I just have to think about, we're in a place now, a lot of the world anyway, where feudalism is not a thing anymore. That whole system gone. Now, don't get me wrong, replaced by wage slavery. Very similar. But at the end of the day, it progressed into something that is better at the end of the day. It's not great. It's not good, but it's better.
We have things pretty great.
Oh, I mean, if we're talking about, shit, life expectancy, quality of life. No, absolutely.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of times when people say it's like, oh, the system sucks, it's like we're forgetting a little bit of the fact that we have supercomputers in our pockets and we know.
I mean, I lived past 17, so and I really appreciate that. I didn't die in a factory when I was 5.
Sorry.
Indubitably. No, you're good. And that further I think goes along with that. That is, if I was, a factory worker at the age of 5, I could not picture a reality where that was not happening. Or if it was, it would be like a dismal, like echo of what a 5-year-old has today in the United States. Even if you're talking about somebody who is impoverished, you're not working in a mine. So for me, I think that fully automated luxury gay space communism, by another name, realistically, I'm not going to tell you that something like that is possible. Or for me, just being more realistic would be just like a community-based anarchism, basically. We would have to progress to the point in society where we no longer needed something at the top to keep, for example, gay people from being murdered in their communities. Like they're like talking about the physical space around them, communities. Can we just jump there? No, we can't put the foot down. We can't say, okay, no government, anarchy. Not at all. That's stupid. Like anarchism to me isn't throwing a brick through a Starbucks window. I would like to progress, whatever that looks like, to the point where something like that is possible. In the same way that, our ancestors long ago, in whatever social systems they lived under, some of them wanted to get to a point where some new system of living and social contract that they couldn't even fathom was a thing, which is what we have now, for people who lived hundreds of years ago. I'm sure they couldn't picture it. So realistically, for me, the reason that I am a socialist and ideally, with my idealistic brain would be an anarchist, is because that is the reality that I want for the people after me. I really don't think I'll see it in my lifetime. There's no way I can picture it happening in my lifetime, but that doesn't mean that I shouldn't push us in that direction to get to a point where one day we can maybe have that. And for now, I just think that the best way is pushing more and more towards socialism, taking care of each other, putting the means of production and the power to actually turn the cogs and stuff in the hands of the people who turn the cogs, as opposed to the people who stand above and kick down breadcrumbs, make us fight each other, and then profit off of our labor. Going back to Andrew Yang, I don't dislike him. And I think the idea of UBI is a good idea. I think it's something that is a great idea that if it exists in a larger context. So just UBI, and again, you know way more about him than I do. So I don't want to say that that's his only thing, because I know it's not. But if that is kind of the crux of it, I just think that it's kind of putting a Band-Aid on a wound that needs antibiotics or something. If that exists within the larger context of a system that is set up to support something like that, I think that's fantastic. And at the end of the day, this goes without saying, but if we're trying to actually push society to a place where we are taking care of each other and recognizing that right now it's not, and it's pretty fucking terrible, not actively trying to take away rights from people and demonize people and shit like that, I think we're moving in the right direction. And I think the conversations that we have about that is what's important. We shouldn't be arguing in 2019 about who is and isn't a person and who does and does not deserve rights. You know, we should be saying we agree that we need to fix things, save the planet, take care of people, raise life expectancy, get to the point where people aren't lacking basic means of survival. But how do we do it? You know? Anyway, I don't know if that answered your question at all, but tell me more about Andrew Yang. I want to know.
Well, okay. I was about to feel like, all right, maybe I'll like ease off the Yang thing.
No.
You asked the question.
100%.
So
No.
Okay. Andrew Yang has the most policies on his website than any other Democratic candidate. Not only that, they are like extremely researched and data based. So
Nice.
he's not just like, I feel like retraining programs would work.
Right.
He's like, no, actually, retraining programs don't work. We have the data. We're very bad at it.
Wow. Yeah. And here's the evidence to support it.
Yeah. And so he has a whole bunch of stuff. So like one of the biggest game changers in my mind is ranked choice voting.
Okay.
Do you know about ranked choice voting?
Vaguely. Explain it to me, though.
So it's instead of just what we have right now is called first past the post, which is basically as soon as someone gets a simple majority, they win.
Right.
But what that creates is a hard binary.
Right.
Because you have 51%. It's like, cool, got it, done.
Yeah.
What happens to the other 49% of the people who voted?
It's a lot of people
didn't want that candidate. They're just like, sorry, sucks, bro.
Yeah.
Deal with it. Sounds familiar.
Jeez.
But with ranked choice voting, what you do is ideally with more than just two candidates, you would go, this is my favorite. They're my number one.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I also don't mind this person, so I'll put them as number two.
Right.
And you can actually go all the way down the list, or you can actually just do what you want with your vote.
Yeah.
I almost said be an idiot, but do what you want with your vote and just like vote for one person. You're like, this is my main, no one else.
Yeah.
But if you voted for other people, then like if your main was to not win, then your vote trickles to the next, and then the next, and then the next.
Yep.
And so what ends up happening is that the winner ends up with the actual majority.
Right.
And so you end up with like 70 to 80% like votes on these candidates rather than like 50%.
Exactly. No, that makes sense.
Because it's like, they weren't my favorite candidate, but I was also not going to be mad if they won.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so more people are like not mad.
Right. Yeah, no, totally.
And so what that also does is it depolarizes the political sphere.
Totally.
Because instead of being like, I'm hard over here.
Yeah.
All of you 50% over this way, come this way. And if you're like in between, you better lean this way.
Right.
And then the other way all the time.
Sure.
Instead, what it does, it's like, all right, let me try and like get the most people in here. I may not be your first or second vote.
Yeah.
But if you put me on your number 3, I don't mind. Here's some stuff that like I think people can get along with without being so extreme as to like, and it's
dismantle the system.
Right. Like, how happy would we be if we got like a good, boring John Kerry nowadays?
Right. Yeah.
As opposed to like just straight up Trump.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
that makes a lot of sense.
I long for a good, boring conservative
someone you don't have to think about every day.
Yeah. But that's just one. Another thing
it's a really good way to look at it.
Democracy dollars. Basically, Yang has this thing to where every U.S. citizen gets, I think, 100 or 200 democracy dollars.
Okay.
It's essentially just like a voucher to give towards a political campaign.
Okay.
And so you can like spread that out however you want. Mm-hmm. But basically what it does is it puts money in the hands of every single voter to actually support politically. And one, it creates engagement because it's like, I have this thing that I like, if I don't spend it, it's just nothing.
Yeah. Here's actual power. Like you can hold in your hand.
Here's actual physical power that I can give to someone. And what that does is instead of driving candidates to go, cool, let me just pander to Exxon over here.
Yeah,
who
exactly.
has billions of dollars to give me. Let me actually try and get as many of these democracy dollars as I can by actually trying to get the American populace.
Yeah. Represent a greater majority of the actual people.
And they will like, it feels more representative.
Sure.
And so that it takes care of the corruption, not immediately, but there's also policies that he has about how much money can be given to. Yeah.
Right. So, yeah.
But anyways, just stuff like that. That's like, that's kind of weird. I didn't know about that. Or stuff like, well, yeah, that's a given.
Yeah, totally.
He has a climate change plan as well, and all that. You ever heard of thorium reactors?
No.
For whatever reason, whenever we were developing nuclear, like as an energy source, people were like, all right, uranium. Because it's like big and powerful, and we've seen what it does. It wins wars.
Right.
Or at least one. But it's extremely dangerous and extremely toxic and everything. And it can have meltdowns.
Right.
But there's also thorium, which you can use in a similar way that we use uranium, but it is incapable of having a meltdown.
Wow. Yeah.
And nobody knows about it.
I mean, I'd never heard of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And up until I saw thorium on Yang's thing, I was like, what is these thorium reactors? And it's like, yep, it's actually just nuclear power without the scary.
Wow.
And a lot of the reason it's like, you know, you and I are probably very like climate conscious.
Yeah.
And like nuclear power is like with uranium is still like incredibly safe, incredibly efficient. It provides a lot of energy, but there's still that little like,
I'm about to say until it's not.
Right. It's like there's still that little bugger at the back of our minds. It's like, but also
could explode
that waste and like the waste that happens that you can't do anything with except for just thing. It's compared to like coal and oil and everything. It's like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction.
Yeah.
But it's still there.
I'm about to say, but at the end of the day,
bothers us.
Yeah. It's still finite.
Yeah. And then yes, the whole exploding thing is
that whole
kind
thing
of a problem. But like as far as alternative energy sources, like nuclear is extremely like safe and viable and stuff. But we just don't like it because it has like the ickiness of the not necessarily entirely renewable, because it's not.
Yeah.
But like it's definitely a step in the right direction.
Right.
But we just don't like it.
Yeah.
But if we just like look at thorium and it's like, hey, here's nuclear without the scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, his climate plan is all about like investing and subsidizing in alternative energy rather than the way that the government is currently subsidizing oil companies and the way that Trump is directly just subsidizing coal, which is just dying anyways.
Yeah.
So I mean, Yang has a lot of stuff. The perception is that like, oh, he's just UBI, but it's not. There's a whole lot.
Yeah.
And the reason why a lot of people like get really angry on Twitter is because, you know, Bernie fans are just like, screw Andrew Yang. He's just a libertarian Trojan horse or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is so funny. He actually gets like the accusations from like every side of the thing.
Yeah.
Like progressives are like, oh, he's just a libertarian Trojan horse. And then conservatives are like, UBI is just socialism. Like
that's the same. Yeah. Man.
And so it's like, but have you looked?
Yeah, sure.
That's the real thing.
Yeah.
But also, he hasn't had a heart attack.
This is true. I mean, it's a more reliable engine.
Yeah.
No, and that's a good thing to think about too. Yeah, no, that's all really good. And at the end of the day, you know, like I said, if we get to a point where the dialogue that's happening right now is someone like Bernie Sanders who's pushing hard left, someone like Elizabeth Warren who's pushing not as hard left, or someone like Andrew Yang who is like comfortably in the middle with fresh ideas, and who ultimately I think a lot of the ideology that goes behind it is, yo, here's scientific facts. We're destroying the planet. Let's fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
Andrew Yang should be the right. You know what I mean? I mean, in that sense, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, if we could get to the point where we can talk on that level, I think, and not be blinded by two things, I think. One, just blind adherence to whatever your ideology is without thinking about the practicality of it, and also the human cost.
Yeah.
And number two, again, you know, we don't live in a vacuum. We live in a nation with a very dark history, and a pretty dark present. And there are all these things that we have to reconcile with, and we have to fix this shit. We can't just like slap a Band-Aid on it or ignore it. It's all very interesting. And I think it's a question, just going back to like the first thing you said of where should we be falling between my ideological brain, or my idealistic brain, versus my pragmatic one. Where do you find the middle ground? You know, should we look at the ideal side and find whatever pragmatic steps to take to one day get there, or at least, and this is kind of where I fall a lot of the time is, whatever your ideology is, if you see a problem, we should be fixing it. And wherever we go, ultimately, you know, we should think about that. And I think we should debate that side of it. And we should debate like which ideology actually is going to be the most effective, which one makes the most sense. But if there are people who are starving, like everybody should be in fucking agreement that we should feed them, you know, or don't get me wrong, feed them and then, push our society to a place where people like people aren't going to be hungry, where we don't have to worry about how are we going, or not how, but are we going to feed these people? Should we? Should we keep people from dying from preventable diseases? When we have the means and technology to keep that from happening. So it's
the easiest direct way of doing that. It's like literally, how do we feed all these homeless people in America? Here's money.
Yeah, you do.
And that's what like UBI is so like simple. Yeah. And it's like hard to grasp. But just like, and it's again, it's like the simple, like asking the fundamental questions about our society, and just like, what if we just give people money?
Mind blown. Yeah.
And I think maybe that's what's made the conversation so hard for people sometimes. It's just because it's so like, it rocks their foundations, and they're like, you can't just give people money.
That's not capitalism.
But what if we do?
Yeah.
Well, I guess it would help.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. No, I think that it's hard to like reconcile, the ideal brain and the like taking steps brain.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we are questioning the foundations of our own reality, which is interesting because I found my way back. A lot of like liberals are non-religious or even anti-religious, but then they like have latched onto like the religion of progressivism.
Sure.
And so you're not nearly progressive enough.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And I find that's like a battle that we don't need to be having.
Thank you. Yeah.
Like it is important that we are acknowledging like microaggressions in the workplace.
Yeah.
But also we should acknowledge the level of privilege that we have, that we are able to talk about something that minuscule.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So it's like, cool. It's good that we can talk about this. And we should. Yeah. It does feed into a greater, like, let's smash the patriarchy and all that. But maybe, these tiny things aren't the battles we need to be having.
Yes, exactly.
Because there's literally a pedophile ring in like all of the world's rich people and leaders have a pedophile ring, and they fucking killed a man.
Are you suggesting, sir, that Epstein didn't kill himself?
There is some evidence that we might have encountered and people have been discussing that maybe, just maybe, Epstein did not kill himself.
Epstein didn't melt steel beams.
Yes.
That's what I have been known to say.
That's a whole other conspiracy brain that
No.
I'm kind of in, but it's hard to talk about.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I think you're dead on.
Yeah.
There was some post that went around the other day, and I, to be fair, didn't read into it because I didn't care. I felt like there's so many things I have going on right now. I don't have time for this, but some post that was going around on the cesspool of Facebook, like you do.
Oh yeah.
And it was about like some group that was upset at like they were giving a hard time to McDonald's workers because they were asking people if their kid wanted a male or a female Happy Meal because they have different toys and stuff. And so this group is kind of allegedly it was going along in that same thing of just like, oh, this is the battles we need to be fighting, McDonald's. So I'm going to yell at this high school kid who's working at McDonald's for minimum wage and getting shit on all day because he did what his like billionaire CEO and all the board and stuff has told him to do. We have a boy Happy Meal and a girl Happy Meal. It's my job. I get paid to ask them which one they want. So I'm going to yell at this high school kid. And again, to be fair, did not look into it. I don't know the validity of that. There's a million articles like that going around, and whether or not they are true, I feel like a lot of what this is, and a lot of why I don't spend time talking about this stuff, is it's something where did that happen? Maybe. And then some right-wing pundit or news source or something latched onto it, and all of a sudden, all the liberals are doing this, and they're screaming at McDonald's, whatever.
But the thing is the solution to both of those things, like whether or not you actually do the research to if it happened, or if you actually really do care if, they're assuming gender roles by asking what gender Happy Meal they want.
Right.
Just don't go to McDonald's. Just don't do it.
Right. Well, and the thing too is like, I don't spend a lot of time on those things because I feel like it plays into that whole just like, oh, I'm going to take something and be reactionary and blow it up into like, I'm just going to come out here, and my experience may be different than other people, but like I've never heard someone who is transgender or who is non-binary or whatever go off on someone for something like that. I've never seen it happen. I've never heard any of my friends having a situation where it happened. And I'm not saying it doesn't.
Well, because honestly, they have more important shit to worry about, because people in their workplace are like actively diminishing who they are as a human.
Exactly. Thank you.
So maybe you don't have to fight that battle for them. Let them do it if they feel like it's important.
Exactly.
But if if it doesn't necessarily like it should go both ways. Like, you know, the whole philosophy is like, it's not hurting anyone. So like, mind your own fucking business.
Right.
Like the same. That's the thing that we say to conservatives who hate transgender people and gay people. What about it's not hurting me specifically? And unless I like talk to someone who it actually does hurt, find out who it actually does hurt, so that I can fight this battle for them. Maybe it's not worth my time.
Sure.
Maybe I shouldn't assume other people's offense.
Sure.
Maybe hopefully we're getting to the point to where people are being more vocal, and we can find out what people's offenses are. Yeah. And then we can fight those battles.
Well, and part of it too, I mean, a huge part of it is being smart about stuff. Not, and I'm not saying that everybody does this consciously, but not just like looking for the next place to direct your constant outrage or righteous indignation. Don't get me wrong. I love being angry. But, you know, if you want to, just going back to that example or anything similar, like if you want to bitch at some kid who works at McDonald's because they asked your kid which Happy Meal toy they want, kid didn't make that decision. The kid and you exist in a society where we still overall like are not recognizing the validity of transgender people. I mean, transgender.
You also said the Joker sentence. So.
Oh, fuck. They'll get what they deserve. Yeah, no. So yes, we have a problem. Yes. And yes, we need to recognize that, and we need to make fucking life better for transgender people. Yeah. Is that really the way that you think that's going to happen? Bitching at individual, like fast food workers or something like that? Or would it be directing that outrage at lawmakers who say god awful things about transgender people, and getting in touch with your local representatives, or voting for candidates, or taking practical steps to change the system that allows this to happen? Yeah. I hate to break it to you, but that high school kid who is working his first job, getting paid minimum wage and feeling like shit, and now you're yelling at him. He didn't bring us there. Yeah. Like, he's another pawn who's getting fucked in this ridiculous game of chess that's rigged. So yeah,
check your privilege.
Yeah.
Check your fucking privilege.
100%. Yeah.
Like, I get to yell at this high schooler working at McDonald's. Maybe I'm a little privileged about this, and it's not really something I have to worry about.
Yeah.
Check your privilege.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
In that same way, though, like, again, it works in the opposite way. As you were talking on the last episode about that pastor talking like, hey, white people deal with these things differently and are living within a system that has contributed to these things. So if you can, check your privilege.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%.
So, I mean, like, yeah, if you do see a problem that's an actual problem, check your privilege and then go like, cool, all right, let's deal with this. Because I don't know, maybe it's just like misguided anger. Like, I understand that the intention of yelling at the McDonald's kid is like, but these people are oppressed.
At its core, you're upset about something valid.
Yeah, yeah, like, I understand.
Be smart.
Yeah. Check your aim.
Totally.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. Let's the word nuance has been coming up lately. Let's do that.
Right. Yeah, no.
And so, yeah, and the other way goes to, I mean, we're in this bubble of progressive liberalism that, you know, we do see things in this way, and we are communists anyways. So it's like, hey, hi NSA, I know you're already listening.
Can't wait to start the war on Christmas this year. I'm gonna fire the first shots.
But there is some stuff, like there are some points that conservatives make that we should probably pay attention to.
Sure.
Let's listen a little bit. Let's have a conversation. Yeah. Let's have a little bit of nuance.
Yeah.
That way, because the ideal is communities working together to create a better society. Hello, Joker sentence again. To make the world a better place, we do have to work together as a community. Yeah. Not just the communities that we like or that dresses the same way or that believes the same things or looks the same as us, but it's the community of humanity and the community of the earth and all of the people and plants and things on it.
Yeah.
That's a community and an ecosystem in itself, and we should probably work together in that sense too.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think there is a limit though, and I think you have to be careful thinking about that. Not that you're a Nazi, Santiago. I think there's a fine line that wobbles and is all over the place and it's hard to see that you have to tread with that. Because at the end of the day, there are people, unfortunately, who ascribe to these beliefs that are being espoused by like the mainstream quote, right at this point. Something that I think the major normalization of it began with the McCain-Palin campaign when John McCain espoused as his running mate someone who was like Tea Party.
Batshit fucking crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And then, hey, guess what? Now just like the alt-right are very fine people. Neo-Nazis, David Duke. So I think there's this line of like, we have to check ourselves. And I just want to go off on a tangent.
Yeah,
liberal bullshit drives me fucking crazy. Yeah. Shit about like, oh, I'm gonna patronize Nike every day of my life. Oh, can't wait to buy my Yeti mug shit like that. I'm just like, number one, you sound so fucking stupid and petty. And number two, hey, good for you patronizing this giant fucking company that 4 years ago you were outraged for a week at how they were treating kids in China. Like, great job, guys. Like, we're really sticking to our ideals here. Shit like that.
And we're all fucking puppets, but
no, totally. But getting all on that train and just making it more of a, I don't know if it's like a cultural thing or just like, vote blue all the time, like shit like that, instead of being issue focused and like having and talking about and evolving some kind of actual ideology instead of saying orange man bad and stuff like that. Keeping that in mind, also listening to the other side when we're not talking about people who actively want to kill or like outright oppress other groups of people.
Well, but at the same time, listening allows us to determine who, like if you sit down with David Duke and if you've like seen interviews and conversations with him, it's like, oh shit, this man's the real deal. He actually does believe these things. Yeah. Listening, like sitting down and listening does actually help you determine it's like, oh yeah, no, this man is the real deal. He's fucked up.
Yeah. Exactly. I meant listening more in terms of like, when somebody brings something like that to the table, how much credibility do you actually give them? And how much are you willing to say like, okay, well, that's your opinion, as opposed to, no, that's bad and you should feel bad. A huge part of it, and I think honestly where time and time again, just going off on a big plane, where the left, quote, has royally fucked things up and shot not only themselves, but also the people who make up their base and the people who don't make up their base in the foot, is just playing the us against them card. At the end of the day, that coal miner in West Virginia who's probably addicted to opioids, who's never been to college, who probably has a 5th grade education, who's lived in a coal mine his whole life, and so did his dad and his dad before that. This person who has never had the opportunity to rise above the place that he was born in, or she, does that person not deserve the same rights and the same opportunities and the same privileges that the rest of us get. It's very easy to write that person off and go, oh, because they're probably racist and they're probably homophobic. They probably believe and say and maybe do a lot of awful things.
Right.
When we're talking about asking questions and how do we get from point A to point B and do we have free will? Why does that person believe those fucking things?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times I have some friends out in Kentucky because my best friend, he went to college there. And so we've kind of, I've gained some of the friends that he made over there just through osmosis. Holy shit. Like it's just, there are tons and tons and tons of people out in rural Kentucky who literally have a 5th grade education. Are those people correct when they say that, you know, black people are inferior or gay people are disgusting and should die? No. And we should not give that credibility. Those people have needs that have not been met.
Yeah.
That coal miner who's, you know, for generations has been a coal miner and they're all going to die of black lung and his kids will probably die of black lung too.
The American dream.
Yeah. That person should not be in that fucking situation.
Yeah.
And if you really care about not just the people who love you, but the people who make up this country, the people who are getting fucked on a daily basis, we should be pushing for a system that provides for all of them to where shit like that doesn't happen. We shouldn't have the Ku Klux Klan in 2019. And they shouldn't be legitimized in the public eye, but that's a whole other thing. Sure. No, we shouldn't still have these basic needs that are not being met. And if we were in a place where that was not the case, I'm not saying that, oh, everything would be great. It would be rainbows. We wouldn't have racists. We wouldn't have hateful people. No, I'm not saying that.
But we'd be taking a step in the right
holy
direction.
shit, dude. Like, okay, for that person who maybe they've been fucked their whole life and they've kind of, you know, been treated like shit by different jobs. They couldn't get an education. They couldn't afford an education. That person who ends up being a racist because his life has been shit and the person on the TV said, you know why your life is shit? Mexicans. They took your job. You know, be angry at them. Oh, yeah, no, my life has been shit. You're right. I'll listen. Those people who are fucked over, who get influenced like that. I mean, if the situation did not exist where that's where it started, how many of those people would still act the way that they act? I think,
and expanding your world a little bit.
Yes.
I think most, if not all, homophobes don't know more than like 0 to 2 gay people.
Exactly.
Most people who are xenophobic or think that, you know, we should, you know, oh, those kids in the cages, their parents made that decision. They deserve it. Those people don't know any immigrants.
Yeah.
They don't know what it's like. So, I mean, expand your world a little bit, but care about each other a little bit more
and fight the battles that are actually going to do something. Yeah. Instead of just screaming and venting your rage on an easy target.
I think either it was Sam Harris or Eric Weinstein that said it, but like, while like Trump can be like talking about the nuclear family and then the left candidate will be like, actually it's nuclear. And then you already lost.
Yeah. It's not the battle we should be fighting.
Because you can, sure, you're right. It is nuclear.
Congratulations.
Yeah. You did it.
We now have health care for, No, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Real quick.
Yeah.
Completely side tangent.
BioShock.
Yes. I was like, let me just bring up video games for just a sec. You said BioShock. Why BioShock?
Oh, wait, is that really what you're going to ask?
I was just going to ask about video games, but yeah.
Oh, damn. Wow, I predicted it.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say favorite games, so I just jumped to BioShock. Also, BioShock 4 might be coming next year, or might be getting announced next year. There's rumors.
I'm not sure if I want it.
I know what you mean, because Ken Levine isn't on it anymore.
And
I'm interested, though.
BioShock Infinite is my favorite BioShock, and it's one of, like, it's up there in my, like, top 10-ish favorite games.
Damn.
Flaws and all.
Yeah.
Like, I acknowledge that, like, the whole middle section is just like,
Yeah.
why are we?
Yeah.
Why am I killing so many black people all of a sudden? That's
yeah.
weird.
It kind of lost me a little bit.
And like I understand, but like,
yeah. It didn't feel as good as the first portion did.
Right.
Killing all the racists.
Yeah, the first portion and then the last portion.
Yeah.
Top notch.
Oh, yeah.
In the middle, it's like, wait, hold on.
What happened?
Yeah.
What happened here?
I mean, BioShock Infinite inspired me so much that I wrote a freaking song about it.
What?
Like,
Get out of here.
Yeah. You can go to my website, SantiagoRamones.com/music.
Send me the title so I don't forget, because I'll forget
Always a
everything.
Lighthouse.
Well, shit, I won't forget that.
Yeah. And then I don't know. I just feel like they won't do it right.
Is this going to be the Crunk's new groove of BioShock?
Yeah, I mean, people felt that way about BioShock 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and I love BioShock 1, which does fall apart at the end because it's the most unrewarding. Have you beaten BioShock yet?
Of course,
yeah,
the shitty boss fight.
Just like the worst boss battle at the very end. It's just like, here's all the things you win.
Dude, why couldn't we just Andrew Ryan, Frank Fontaine? Like, it was a shitty fight. Or make it a better boss fight. Whatever.
Right. I would have preferred actually just a cutscene.
Shit. That would have worked for me too.
Right. Well, that's something that I've heard other video game folks talk about in the industry, that like, why do we get stuck on, the ending has to be a big, difficult boss fight?
Because, Santiago, that's the way it's always been done. So we should keep doing it.
Yeah. And that's exactly why we shouldn't. It's like, I've spent all this time,
been done.
Learned all this story or whatever it might be. Sure, maybe give me a chance to like flex a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, that's fun. But it doesn't necessarily have to be in like, here's a suddenly new situation that you haven't had to deal with the entire game. Suddenly, get good, scrub, and watch this cutscene of the bad guy saying his like talking crap about you for like 20 times as you keep dying,
and then just roiding out.
Yeah.
I will say though, the lead up and becoming a big daddy, that was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking cool.
I was here for that.
But like, I just didn't finish Quantum Break, because the last boss battle has like, you know how like each boss fight has like the 2 or 3 waves.
Yeah.
Oh, you kill this phase and then it's
exactly
the next phase. Like the second phase had like an insta kill like effect.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm not doing this shit. Like,
yeah, no kidding.
And so like, we don't even make boss battles like hard.
Yeah.
Or
are we doing this because this is where like this is a satisfying conclusion for the game, or are we doing this because you have to have a bullshit boss fight?
Yeah.
That's super hard at the end of the game. Dark Souls, sure. The whole fucking game is hard boss fights, but they're not bullshit. That's what the game's set up
like,
to do.
There's a point to doing it,
and it's interesting.
Yeah.
You're choosing to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean that's like probably something that gets lost in the shuffle of like game development because it's so hectic. They're like, all right, like we're making this huge boss battle thing.
Yeah.
And then, you know, as you're in that shuffle, you never stop to realize like,
but should we?
But is this even good? Like, is this fun?
Yeah, exactly.
When sometimes it's like, honestly, like, Halo has done it differently, where it's like instead of a big boss battle,
it's just
like
a huge set piece
fast
at the end. Oh my god, dude!
Yeah, this is
epic.
Like you've been driving a lot throughout the game, anyways. You're driving, go for it.
Yeah, but now the Halo's falling apart.
Yeah, it's like cool, and like it's hard, but it's not like you're gonna listen to the boss say his thing and then,
exactly.
But like. And then you like get to the end point and there's a cutscene. It's like, yay.
Yeah.
The cutscene's the reward.
Yeah.
That's fun.
It's like action, climax, and then you get a satisfying like ending to the story.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't need another BioShock.
No, I feel you. I don't think that we do.
Because I think they got like their chance to like do it right.
Yeah.
Both 2K and just like Ken Levine himself like got his chances to make the best BioShock.
Right.
But then he didn't.
I got you.
So it's like, don't even try anymore. Like just go somewhere else. And I mean,
quit while you're
Ken Levine has his own like small studio and they're working on stuff very quietly for a long time. Right. Like the last thing I like looked at their website, their last thing was like in, I don't know, like 2015 or something stupid like that. And it's like, here's this like, talk I did at GDC.
Keep doing that. Keep slapping the pop filter.
It's okay.
I'm spiritually Italian, so just
but like, yeah, it was like some old video from GDC of like Ken Levine talking about like new interactive experiences and storytelling. And it's like, yeah, that's the GDC talk.
Right.
But just don't ruin BioShock more.
Yeah.
Like I love it. Flaws and all.
Right.
Leave it alone. It's cool. It's just
I got you.
Just go somewhere else.
Here's the thing, you're wrong. No, just kidding. Yeah, no, first one, love it. One of my favorite games of all time because you're squishy as hell and it's scary. And story, duh. 2, here's the thing, and here's why I would be interested for another one. I feel like the only way that I would be into it is if it goes back to Rapture. And I know we've done Rapture twice and then the Burial at Sea DLC, which was fucking sick. And I think
also ruined the Elizabeth arc, but
it's neither here nor there.
Okay,
I just like Rapture. And no, like if they went back there, I think it's just because that enthralled me so much. And because I really like the art, I would be down for that again. I'd be down for more of it. Is it going to be good? I'm going to take a wild swing and say probably not. If it does happen, maybe if it does happen, they will surprise us. It'll be fun. Maybe they'll innovate. I don't know, because I'm having actually my best friend. He's on my live stream a lot. I'm having him play BioShock right now, and I'm like that dad who like they played football and then now they're like living through their child who's also playing football. That's me, but like him with BioShock and watching him experience it for the first time. And when he doesn't think something is cool and I do, I get really mad. Why aren't you enjoying this? No, for me, it's the same reason that I hate Supernatural, because I loved Supernatural for 5 seasons.
Oh, okay.
And then after that, I was like, this is literally just fucking, you know what? What if we did another season and this year's gimmick is this bullshit? Like the show's gone to shit. The quality's not there.
Right. I don't watch Supernatural, but it happens with a lot of shows.
Someone in your audience has. Sherlock, same thing. So I don't know. I'm totally going against my natural on this just because I love the setting. Yeah. And I love the feel of that first game.
At least we'll be shitting more on Ayn Rand.
You know, I'm always here for shitting on Ayn Rand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know though. If they take it to a new locale, which they totally are set up to do with the end of Infinite, like, I don't know. Would I play another BioShock for the way that BioShock feels mechanically to play? Hell no. Like it's clunky. Infinite was obviously the smoothest of the 3 and the most modern of the 3, but no, like the mechanics and stuff, that's not why I play the game. They weren't bad, but you know, yeah. It was okay.
It's a shooter.
Yeah.
Infinite more so.
No, I was about to say Infinite very, very much more of a shooter. BioShock 2 was basically a tower defense game. But no, I don't know. I played it for the story. I played it for the incredible art and world building that they created. Holy shit, dude. Like, I mean, the color. So my girlfriend is an artist, and she did a whole project like using and being inspired by the art of BioShock, because I just like introduced her to the game at some point, and she was like, wow, that art is really cool. That just the color palette alone that they use as the basic. I was like, it is. Like, that's 40% of the reason I played the game.
Art deco. Top notch.
Holy shit, dude. Oh man. So I don't know if it's more of that, and if the story is still good. Because at the end of the day, I'm a horror boy. I love horror games. Like legit well made. It was present in the first one. It was good. But what gets you from the very beginning is the fucking storytelling. And if they can pull that shit off again somehow, I feel like I would enjoy it. But so, who knows? It could be shit.
They could. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
2K, if you're listening.
As you're listening.
Yeah. We've done water. We've done sky. We haven't done ground.
Underground
city.
Ooh. Sounds boring.
Does it though? Because like underwater city, you would be like, oh, it's just dark and like gloomy until you like see it. It's like, oh damn, that's pretty fucking cool. And in the same way, it's like, oh no, they cracked the thing and there's like the place is flooding.
Yeah,
it's like the same thing. You'd like, oh no, they cracked the supports and like a cave-in's gonna happen.
Right,
like that creates some interesting problems.
Sure,
but since it is underground, it's dark. They can lean into the horror.
Dude, that's okay. Yeah, you got me. Okay, sold. Change my opinion. Jumping sides.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's like they couldn't do horror in Infinite because they're literally in the sky.
Open. Yeah,
and it's like, hey, here's bright and daylight. We're literally above the clouds. It cannot be dark.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point.
And they like did so a little bit in the end, but it was like, eh.
Yeah, it was a very action oriented game. It's very out in the open.
Yeah, but man. Like, I'm still realizing things about BioShock Infinite that I'm like, whoa.
Did we need the undead wife boss, though?
No.
Thank you. That was my least favorite part of the game.
Gosh.
Sorry, I just had to throw that out there.
Yeah. But thing about undead wife boss.
Yes.
Constants and variables.
Yeah.
Booker DeWitt's wife, partner, whoever.
Oh no.
Who had Anna.
Yeah.
Who is Elizabeth.
Right.
Constant is also Comstock's wife.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. That's just like, he didn't need to do that.
Yeah.
But they did.
little touch.
Yeah. And so there's just little things about it. Like, I still every once in a while will like boot up BioShock Infinite and play all the way through it and grit through just the bad parts in the middle. But like, because all of the voxophones and all the little things, like, dude, every single time, just
that shit is so interesting.
Yeah.
It was my, not that I thought it was a bad game. But it was my least favorite out of the three. And again, part of that is just because I was so enamored by just the setting and the storytelling of the first one. Dude, freaking like finding voxophones, and they had all these different characters and they just gave you glimpses of the society and stuff. Holy shit. Like that easily is one of the things that 100% carried over into Infinite and was one of my favorite things about it.
And the thing
is interesting
is that like the game is feeding you the twist the entire time.
Yes.
Like, and you don't know it until you get the twist. But
from the very beginning.
Yeah. And from the very beginning, it's like, nope, this is it. I'm speaking vaguely, obviously, for
shit. We came out in what, like 2013?
Yeah. But I mean,
I got you.
Like, there's some good voxophones that are like kind of a little bit like hidden away.
Yeah.
But there was one where it's like a sermon from Comstock.
Yes.
And he was like, you know, who is the man who like is underwater, but like as he's being baptized, is it like a different man or is it the same man? And
oh,
like,
my God, it's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a beautiful fuck you to everyone who's already played it. Like it was right there, like, motherfucker. Oh God,
I'm such a dumb. And the thing is that like as soon as I beat Infinite, I just started right away.
Like, so you can catch it.
Yeah, I didn't even put the controller back down. I was just like, let's go.
I have to see what I missed.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, we've been going out this while. So
oh man, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair.
Once again, plug your stuff.
Oh yeah. So once again, twitch.tv/DungeonMasterEli. Play a lot of video games. We tell jokes. Just like horse around. Also I didn't mention this on the last one, but we have video feed now. So you can actually like look at us and stuff. My favorite thing to do on that channel though, tying in with the name, is D&D. So I don't know if it picks up enough traction. I think primarily I'd like that to be a more RPG D&D centric channel.
Sure.
And that's also just as I am able to devote more time to that. But yeah, check us out. Video game content, live D&D stuff. Come chat with us. Come hang out. It's Dungeon Master Eli on Facebook, and it's at Dungeon Eli on Twitter. I do have lots of highlights videos and past broadcasts and just funny shit. So go check it out.
I will say, because of RPGs, you should do a run of the Outer Worlds. Have you heard of the Idiot Savant thing?
Yes. In reference to the Outer Worlds, no.
In the Outer Worlds, because it shapes the story and your character like based on stuff that you say.
Okay.
You can basically like become so stupid that people like baby you.
Are you serious?
Yeah. But it actually like works in your favor.
Oh man.
Yeah.
They thought of everything.
Yeah. And so it's just
okay.
And it's a short enough game. Like I kind of feel I haven't been keeping track of how many hours I've been putting in.
Yeah.
But it's like I kind of feel like I'm, in the like last third of the game, basically.
Sure. I'm like still. I just got to Groundbreaker.
Yeah.
And I haven't really done shit. Yeah. So just FYI.
Yeah. Well, no. But people have been saying it's like a shortish RPG,
sure.
And it is. So that you can replay it.
Exactly.
And so I am like, once I beat this, maybe I will just re-roll.
Yeah.
And just like try one of the crazy things. Like, because you can just crazy spec your character at
That's
the beginning.
Awesome.
So
that's what I do on Dark Souls. So when I was in character creation for this one, I was like, well, shit, I have to read through everything and figure out what I actually like vibely want to do this first time. But already I was thinking, oh my God, I could do this build. I could do this build. Like, yeah. So probably I'll finish it for me to experience it like cathartically in my off time.
Yeah.
And then I think I probably will go back and like
do a crazy spec in Outer Worlds.
Do some streaming with some ridiculous builds or something.
Because that's what gets like really crazy, especially with like the Fallout aesthetic. Like,
it's so that was one of the best things about Fallout.
Yeah,
doing crazy shit like that.
So if you just like, it's a weird thing, but you can like hard spec leadership, and you can just like stand back, and like, send your minions out. Or you can hard spec intelligence and just like, hack every computer or whatever. I hard spec intelligence, so I'm pretty happy about that. But
pistols and charisma.
Nice.
I did a lot of fast talking.
There's a lot of talking.
Yeah.
I like, man, I should have spec'd into charisma.
I always, every time I played a damn Fallout game, I always spec'd into charisma exactly for that.
Yeah.
So I wanted my character to be a fast talking gunslinger.
Yeah. There you
go. And then we did it. We did it, boys.
That's something to look forward to on Eli's channel.
Yeah. And Santiago eventually. We'll play some Mario Party or Super Smash Brothers or something.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sweet. What was your Twitter again?
Oh, at Dungeon Eli. Okay. Dungeon Master Eli was somehow taken. So
weird, okay.
Yeah.
And what about Demelli?
Demelli. No, I think
Eli.
no. Dungeon Master Eli was too long, and DM Eli was already taken. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So I had to settle for Dungeon Eli.
Yeah.
So anyway, at Dungeon Eli, follow me on Twitter.
Right. Well, at least that other person has Demelli. So.
Right.
Anyways, thank you for doing this with me.
Yeah.
I'm Santiago Ramones.
I'm Eli Russin.
You can find everything that I do on my website, santiagoramones.com. I make music. Find all of the cool stuff on the music part of my website. It's myname.com/music. All of my master's recital is on there. And then on YouTube, we've got some Power Cycle stuff up now. I might also try and just put a link on my website on the music page. I'll probably do that before you, listener, are hearing this. But you can also go to YouTube and search Power Cycle Electric Pizza, and you'll find all of our Electric Pizza concerts. Big stuff coming soon on that front.
Hashtag big stuff coming soon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And leave comments and reviews and all that nonsense. Let me know what you think about the podcast and about all of the conversations that we've been having. If you do or don't believe in free will, or if you do want another BioShock and all of the wide gamut of things that we covered.
Did Epstein kill himself?
Yeah.
We're just kidding.
Yeah.
He did. Wait, no, he didn't. Shit. They're getting to me.
Oh, yeah.
There's not a gun to my head. Is that what you wanted me to say?
Yeah. Well, the NSA is listening anyways.
Of course.
I mean,
yeah.
I have a phone right there.
And they just like it. It's very popular with NSA.
Yeah, it's fine. Anyways, I always end the podcast with my 3 things. They shape my life philosophy. Those 3 things are: love never fails. It's going to be okay. I might be wrong.